Okay, music theory behind On My Own, a song from Les Miserables. There's so much emotion in this, and so much of it comes from the way he used these kind of clever music theory ideas. So we'll start, we're in D major. On my own, pretending he's beside me, right? So right off the bat, we have something kind of clever. We're going from D to E minor, which is like a little unusual. You don't see 1 to 2 back to 1 very often in terms of the chords. And furthermore, especially once you get into the verse, he's doing the minor 2 chord over the tonic, which is D. And if you just ask me off the cuff, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's probably going to clash. Those chords aren't related to each other at all. That doesn't make any sense. But they actually are. And you have to realize that the 2 minor 7 is a very sweet sounding chord with a D at the top. So if you just move the D down to the bottom, you're actually just have an inversion of a minor 7 chord, which is a nice sounding chord. So you can do a major triad, which sounds sort of sweet, and then you can throw this E on top of it, which also sounds kind of sweet, and back to D. So you aren't moving very much, and your top note stays the same. But both chords are sweet sounding. So you have this kind of sense of floating in space between 2 sweet sounding chords. One major, one kind of minor, but a sweet sounding minor, right? Okay, and then you throw in that descending line on top. And it kind of sounds like rain, right? So you've created this atmosphere that's really beautiful and kind of states where she's at in this dreamlike space. Because what comes before this in the song is very minor and kind of dark sounding, and then she gets to this dream. So we begin. On my own, pretending he's beside me. So on my own, pretending he's beside me. That's a nice positive sounding thing, right? All alone. That's a little more dramatic. So we've gone to the minor there. And the minor, it's the 6th chord, right? If you're in pop music, 1, 4, 5, 6. Those are the chords you find in all pop songs, basically. And in this case, it would be D major. The 5 would be A major. The 4 would be G major. And the 6 minor would be B minor. Okay. Also, when you want to go to B minor from 1, you'll notice that a D major chord and a B minor chord share 2 of the same notes. So the ear considers this to be a pretty safe motion. Okay? And also, B minor is the relative minor of D major. They're using the same notes. So if you play a D major scale up and down, you're also playing a B minor scale on there. It just depends where you start. Or whatever. My scales need some brushing up, but okay, so we get it, right? Going to B minor is easy. It's the 6th chord in pop music, all those other reasons. So, and he's going to do it with a little bit of a crunchy descend. But it's not too crunchy, because C, D, C sharp, and B are all in D major, right? D, C sharp, and B. If he threw a C major in there, which is not in the key, it would sound a lot crunchier. Like, that would be a pretty dramatic note to sit on, but he's skipping that one for now. Just a simple descent, right? So, all alone. All right, 6 minor chord, little drama on that. And then, okay, let's think about circle of fifths again. We're in B. You can tell he wrote all this stuff on the piano because it's very circle of fifth C, and there's a lot of moving bass lines. If we're going to go down by circle of fifths, where are we going to go? We're going to B, go down to fifth, you're going to land on E. Now, just to look ahead a little bit, if we keep going down by circle of fifths, you're going to go down another fifth to A. If you go down another fifth, you're going to get to D, which is our home chord. We're in D major. Okay, so B minor. So he's going to go down that fifth to E, and he's going to do an E major here. In fact, he's going to do an E dominant 7. A dominant 7, whenever you see a dominant 7, it's pulling pretty hard down a fifth. Like if you're in C major and you get a G dominant 7, it really wants to resolve. So whenever you see one of those, you're probably about to go down a fifth. You're really leading in that direction. And in fact, 2 things. If you see a chord that doesn't belong in the key, an E major does not belong in the key. It has a G sharp. In D major, it's a D natural, not a G sharp. So this is out of the key. It's a chord that doesn't really belong, right? When you see that, the first question to ask is this tonicizing something else? Is this setting up to go down a fifth? Okay. And if you see a dominant 7, then you really want to ask that question. So that's what's happening here, is we're making this major, the dominant 7, to give us momentum down to A. Okay, so all alone, sad. We're going to go down the 5th. We're going to use this dominant 7. So I walk with him till morning. And think how much this lines up with the lyrics. All alone, sad. I walk with him, pretty happy, right? Till morning. We've landed. Till morning's the arrival. Now it's not, you're not home yet, but you walk with him till morning. You're at the 5, the dominant, which wants to go down, finally land on D, and get us all the way home. But A is a pretty stable spot. That's the dominant. Okay, so it's pretty cool, right? So I love this next part. Now we're walking down, again, this is a chromatic descent. G sharp's not in our key, we just figured that out. It is an E major, and we kind of just heard that, so it was just a chord earlier, so it's kind of in our ears, but it's still some drama. Okay, here's the next thing. Without him, the world would go on moving. And notice how dramatic that, let me play a chord for you, G major. Does that sound happy? It should generally sound happy, right? It's a major chord. And if we're in D major, and I play you a G major, pretty happy, right? This is major, this is major, this is major. But in this context, let's see. I walk with him till morning. Without him, does that sound happy to you? That's pretty dramatic and murky right there. I think there's 2 reasons for that. One is you set up with this descent, so they've got crunch and tension and release. And the other is the melody is sitting on a minor 3rd. When you have a major triad, it's made of a major 3rd and a minor 3rd. And a minor 3rd is minor, so we call it minor, partly because it sounds sad. A major 3rd sounds bright, but a minor 3rd sounds kind of sad, right? So we've crunched our way into G major, and the melody is highlighting the minor 3rd without him. So G major sounds very sad in this context, which is part of the magic in music theory, is that it's not as simple as major chords are happy and minor chords are sad. You can put things in context and really change the way your ear hears them. So we're going to keep this going, right? Without him, feel, what is this chord? Feel his arms around me. Okay, so what did we say earlier? If you have a chord that's not in your key, especially if it's a dominant 7, you're probably about to tonicize a 5th below that, right? If we go a 5th from F sharp down, we're going to get to B. Okay, and sure enough, now it's crazy. No, so A sharp is definitely not in C major, right? Definitely not in the key. It's A natural. So we've thrown this A sharp in there, and then we're going to B minor. And now what we've done here is we've created such a sense of tension with a weird chord that's not in the key that it almost feels like we've moved to B minor. So for a second, like especially coming down from the G, or let's see. Doesn't it sound like we just arrived home? Like B minor is definitely the key we're in, right? So for a second, it feels like that. We're creating a sense that this is home. Without him, I feel his so much tension. Feel his arms around me. So we're home, but it's not really home, right? It's a sad version of home around me because she knows it's not real. Okay, so back to circle of 5ths. We're in B. If we go down to 5th, we're going to get to E. We've done this ball before, right? And then we could go down to A and then go down to D. So this journey through the circle of 5ths is very present as we go through the song. Around me, this false landing. And when I lose my way, I do. Now what happened here? This is an E minor again. And it's going to be an E minor 7 again. Now we know that's kind of her sound, right? It's the sonic texture we established. But I just told you that when you're doing a 5 of 5, in other words, when you want to be here and you want the 5 above it, it should be a major to create a lot of tension to go to A. Well, let's try that here. Around me, and when I lose my way, I close my eyes and he has found me. Right? It's not really the mood he's going after. So he did a thing called modal mixture here, where he just swapped in the other chord, even though it's not technically right, because it's the mood he wanted. It's a story he wanted to tell. So when I lose my way, I close my eyes. And we're really harking back again to the beginning, this beautiful eyes, and he has found me. A major. We're not home yet, but we're definitely someplace stable now. He's found you. Isn't it amazing how much these lyrics track with the music theory? Okay, So if we're going to go back to the verse, the first verse, in the rain, the raven shines like silver. Okay, notice this melody line. In the... Now we're singing this over an A major. In the... There's no D in A major, right? In fact, it's pretty tense, especially if you're playing this at the same time, because you're playing that, right? C sharp and D, they clash. Now that's kind of on purpose, because it's a suspension. In the, you want to create tension, so when you do get to D major, rain, it feels like a relief. Okay, so that's on purpose. So the next time we go through, though, he's going to do something different. He's going to go, and I take that tension, he's going to do this with it. And I know it's only in my mind. What just happened there? Because it's crazy drama. She's coming out of her dream into this thing saying, no, I know it's just in my mind. She's suddenly back to reality. So we've modulated into a new key to kind of emphasize that drama. Well, look what happened here. And no. So when we're going back home to the beginning of the verse, we've got A stays the same. A here becomes the top note in a D major chord. This tension gets resolved to D major, and the A stays the same. So we're used to that A staying the same, right? It goes from A, which is the dominant of D, it goes down to D major, which is our tonic, and just stays there. But now, that goes up a half step, and half step rises are really dramatic. We love them because it creates so much drama. So, and also, by the way, you've got this E, which is supposed to go at E, right? A major chord, it's got an E, it's supposed to go down to D. In fact, it's got a lot of pull. Do, re, mi, re, do. Like the ear is very tuned to hear that descent back to D. So you've got these set up to expecting it to go to that. But instead, they both go up. Wow, that's like a really unexpected rise by a half step. So that's where the drama is coming from in terms of the notes. And I read these two, and I know, right? So that's how that modulation works. And suddenly we're in B flat. Okay. No, it's only in my mind. Well, that was particularly beautiful. How did you do that? Well, we're in B flat major. Okay. So the 4 chord will be E flat, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, do, re, mi, fa, sol. Sol is the 5, that's the dominant, and that's the tonic now. Okay, and E flat is the 4 chord. There are our pop chords. 1, 4, 5, G minor, F major, it's gonna be the 5, E flat will be the 4, and B flat will be our tonic. Okay, but what are we doing here? And I know it's only, well, hold on a second. That's an E flat minor. That doesn't belong in the chord. You don't have a G flat. The notes are B flat, C, D, E, F, G, not G flat. So he's thrown another modal mixture chord in there, a chord that doesn't belong in the key. It sounds really beautiful. No, it's a minor 4. And minor 4 chords get used all the time for good reason because they create a lot of beautiful emotion. And here's a great example of that. We've just modulated to a new key, and then on top of that, he's going to throw this crazy, like, emotional chord that doesn't belong. No, it's only in my mind. And what's more, like, crushing than that realization, only in my mind, out of the whole song? No, it's only in my mind. Okay, so we're in B major. We're going to do another descent because he likes that. Go to G minor. Okay, again, 1 chord, 4 chord, 5 chord, 6 minor. So just pop progression. It's the same thing we did in the beginning. We went from D major, we went to that 6 minor here, right? The relative minor. Just like we were going to C, we go to A minor. So, but we're in B flat now, so we're going to go to G minor. Again, B flat has 2 of the same notes as G minor. It's part of the reason that sounds so cool. No, okay. No, it's only in my mind that I'm talking to myself and not to him. Okay, we just landed on the 4 chord. It's a little poppier than what we've been doing. Most of what we've been doing has been circle with fist, but that's fine, right? 1, 6, 4. Very standard pop progression stuff. All right, but now what happens? She knows she's talking to herself and not to him. And although I know that he is blind, still I say there's a way for us. I love him. Oof, a lot going on in there. Okay, so we were in B flat. We got made to the 4 chord. And oh, we're gonna sing this G. Okay, so the E flat major, right? Granted, we briefly did this minor thing, but the actual note in the key is G natural. So E flat is a G in it. And oh, that's a great interval, by the way. Is that it's a major 6th. And although, so again, you're expecting these notes, and although, but we're gonna give you another half step raise, like that. Another half step rise, lots of drama. And although, also we expected to kind of be in a major chord. And also, and instead, we're in a minor chord that's a half step up, right? Another 2 notes rising by half step. That's how he's doing his modulations. It really creates a lot of drama, and specifically by having 2 notes go up half step each time. Okay, so now we're suddenly in E minor, though I know that he is wrong, blind. Now, part of the reason you know we're in E minor is because you just went to a B major chord. And again, if you're in minor, even if you're in minor, the 5, if you're in E, the 5 is B, is always gonna be major. Like, if it's actually E minor, if we stayed in the key, it's only an F sharp in E minor. That's the only black key, right? But when you play this B, this 5, the dominant, you throw a D sharp in there, which doesn't belong. And you almost always make the 5 chord major in a minor key because it resolves to the 1 better. So, we're in E minor. You see that B major, and especially when you can see it's a B dominant 7, you're like, okay, that's the 5. And we're gonna go back to the 1. Except he doesn't do it this time. Everything else has been circle of fifths, but and although I know that he is blind, still I say, oof, isn't that's a surprise. We haven't done that move yet. From a 5, we're gonna go to the 4, okay, E minor, the 4 is A, the 5 is B, right? And it's gonna be a minor, because the only black key in E minor is F sharp. So it's in the key. And we're gonna make it an A minor 7 because that's a particularly sweet sound. So we've gone from 5 to 4, straightforward. Now he's gonna do a little switcheroo on us and do a chromatic mediant because A minor, actually when you're playing A minor 7, you're already playing a C major. You just take the A up and you got a C major like that, right? So that's a really easy chord shift to go to. Still there's a way for us. The only catch here is he's making it a C dominant 7. Because the key signature tells us that we're in F, which we're really not, like ignore that. But for the purpose of this, we're moving from an A minor 7 to a C dominant 7. So we know what we're doing now, right? Once you see that, you're definitely gonna go down a 5th to F. Now, the whole rest of the song is in F. F is the arrival point. We started in D, and we've been slowly sneaking our way up to F. And that's the whole song, what it does. You start off in D, it's a little lower register for the singer, right? And by the end, we're in F major. So she's singing up a minor 3rd, which is gonna brighten her voice, make everything more intense, a little louder seeming, right? So that's the overall shape of the song. So we had this C dominant 7. I love him. Oh, what better place to come to the final key of the song. But when the night is over, he is gone. Okay, we're doing this move again, right? 1 to 6. We've been through that a while, the relative minor. He's gone, the river's just a river. Okay, so we got D minor. We're gonna go down a 5th, right, to G. And then down another 5th to C. And then on the last page here, see, without him, the world around me changes. So this is something I gotta admit, I don't fully understand, but it's really pretty cool. We're in F, okay. Oh, I get it, okay. So we're gonna go from F, we're gonna go to this B flat, which is the 4. The world. There's something really cool about B flat to A major. Now A major in this case, okay, the relative minor of F is D minor, right? And I told you when you do the 5th above a minor key, you're usually gonna make it major. So you're kind of borrowing the major 5 from D minor, which is the relative minor of F, right? F major, D minor. The 5 of D minor is gonna be a major chord, even though A major doesn't fit with an F. There's no sharps in F, right? There's just the B flat. So, the world. So suddenly we kind of feels like we're in D minor, right? We're tonicizing the changes. You see this too in Elton John. So goodbye, yellow brick road, where the dogs of society howl. He pairs that A major with the B flat in the key of F. So you see that often around. Anyway, so where are we? Is it changes? The trees are bare, trees are bare, trees are bare, and everywhere the da-da-da-da-da-dum. So we've been through all this material for just a different key. I love him, but every day I'm learning. All my life I've only been pretending. Without me, his world, right? And now this again, B flat is in the key, A major is not, but we're tonicizing D minor, the relative minor, turning. The world is full of happiness that I have never known. G minor goes down a fifth to C. I love him. And then F7. I love him, but only on my own. That's another thing where you can tell he's a pianist, right? Love him. He's just taking the left hand. I love him. There's probably something else to that E flat. I don't know, but I love him. Another chromatic descent, but only on my own. It's also a B flat minor 7, so it's another minor 4, which we did earlier, right? It should be love him, but only on my own. But we're gonna do minor, only on my own. So there you go. It's a whole bag of tricks. He recycles a lot of them. Mostly, it's the minor 4, modulation, circle of fifths. And you can see how effectively he's using all that to craft this song, this beautiful journey through her emotions. And it stays so close to the lyrics. The music tells the same story the lyrics are telling. So that's what makes it so wonderful. All right, thank you for listening.